Oh, we are back. Pili
Ayo.
and Jason here with you today. And so we're just going to dive in here and we're going to get after it. Is that lots of times we're setting up our life, and our life is that something that we're feeling trapped in, but we're ultimately only getting the information that's right in front of us, right? Because that's what we've known, and that's what we're open to, because that's what's right there in front of us, right? So
So
like,
it comes back to the choices you make. Even the choices that you don't think you're making because you make them on a regular basis. For instance, what you were saying about Fox News or CNN, like depending on what news station you watch and you have chosen to watch, that's your point of view.
well, it's the same story, right? So if you get the same story on both news channels, it's like completely different, right? Completely
Yeah.
different. But if your choice here is you're saying, I want to be something different in my life, but you're surrounded with everyone who just knows only the one story that you're in. Well, that's the story that you know. And what makes it even worse today, right, is because you have these sites that are so smart, like Facebook or Instagram, that they
Hmm.
even show you more of those topics that
Yep.
now you're accustomed just to everything you see is just that's your story and that's your life. And maybe you have to take a step back and just think, well, what else could be possible? Instead of just ultimately writing everything else off, what else could be possible? If you're not happy in your life and you're thinking, well, I'm not happy, your whole point of being happy, shouldn't you retiring in 30 years or 20 years or whatever that is, or just hopefully that week you have or 2 weeks you have of vacation time? It is, well, what does a life look like that does make me happy? And that's where you really have to start. You have to start thinking of, well, where can I find access to that information? Where can I find people that like that? Because ultimately, if you're in your path and you're in your routine and you're in your day and you're in everything that you know, that might not be in front of you. And it's not just going to jump out to you until you figure out what it is that you actually want, right? Because we hear that people want to just go live on the beach for the rest of their life.
Okay. Well,
Cool.
what? Okay.
But
So
but let's just
say,
say, but let me think one thing. Let me one thing to it. Could you live on a beach for the like just like that's all you do is lie on the beach every day? Like it sounds good for like a portion of time. I would go nuts. I would go freaking nuts. That's not what I want. So like sure, like maybe living on the beach and be able to be active and all that
yes.
stuff. But if your whole thing is like, I wish I could just go live on a beach all the time. Have you really thought that through? Have you really thought through that? Where you're just like, yeah, maybe 24 hours on the beach doing nothing and I just wither away. That's not the greatest life. Maybe I want the option to go do that with my lifestyle. And so I could set up a lifestyle that gives me the option to do something. But I could go right now to a beach and lie there for a day. Maybe that's more presentable. Well, what would that look like?
Well, it's all about the choices you make again. Like if say you want to be on the beach 24/7, like what choices would you have to make? Okay, maybe to make that happen, you need to go and take lessons to become a lifeguard. There you go. Now you're making money by sitting on the beach all day long 24/7. And if that's what you want to do and if
Hmm.
that's what brings you joy, then by all means go do it. But if, say, you want to, okay, let's think of another level. Say you want to live a more positive life, but you're watching news all the time. You have news in
Hmm.
the background, you have news on your phone, you have whatever. It doesn't even matter what news you listen to. It's it has been proven that people will watch these news stations more if they hear and listen to the bad news that these news stations are touting. You don't have there's no good news station. There's no well,
You have to change your surroundings,
you have
change
to
your
change
perspective,
it.
right?
So
Because
change the news that you're listening to. Change your Facebook. I have revamped my Facebook to be only positive. If negative news comes through my Facebook, I delete it. So but I'm telling you something different because if there's news is news. Things are happening every day that you need to know, but you don't need to know the editorial. So if you
but
want
that's there's a big point of
positivity,
that. Like right, like there's certain things like how much you really need to know. Because like, what are you really gonna do? Like, what are you really gonna do? Is it really affecting? Like, I know someone specifically always has news on because they want to hear it and they say it's background noise, but like no, like what good is it doing? Like if you have 20% of 30%, 20% of negative in your day and the other 70 or 80% is positive, your day still is really affected by that negative
yeah.
point. It
Yeah, it
really
is.
is. And it's
So
the same thing with like having someone in your life who is just a
yes,
negative draw. Like if you
yes.
have that and like every day, awesome day for 80%, but you get crushed with negativity for 20%. You don't think that negativity is really going to weigh on you? So your choices of who's around you, what you put in, it's like the same thing too. Like, oh, um, let's go work out, and then after that, we friggin' bonbons and drink gin. You like, it's like, well,
Bonbons and gin.
yeah, it sounds ridiculous, but that's as most ridiculous I can get. But like, let's
It's
just
true.
say, well, let's just say, like, yeah, so great, you just crush it with a workout, and then you just beat your body to death. Like that's what you're doing with your mentality if you're not opening yourself up to just think about where you want to go and being specific with it, and then surrounding yourself with good things and good choices. We're way off topic.
Yeah, I was just thinking that because
Yeah.
what was the original topic we were talking about? Well, no, it's the same topic.
Yep.
It's basically the same topic. It was we were talking about how you get into one lane and that's the only thing you hear if you stay in that lane. And we got into this conversation because earlier we were talking about veganism and being a vegetarian or a vegan or a carnivore or whatever the newest fad is, and how being a vegan is actually being debunked as like the healthiest diet because it's proven that a lot of humans, and everybody is different, need a little bit of meat. And the thing is, it's being proven that it needs to be good and clean protein. And this is like well taken care of, well treated animals that you're putting into your body. I believe that.
Well, it just with so much information today that you can just ultimately be a pro within 7 seconds of reading a heading on social media, and then you just pass it along. But that also gets to your point of life here is that we're ultimately think that we should also have success or some kind of great thing so quickly too, because we see people that are out there doing these great things. So I must be able to do it. And if I don't have it by tomorrow, I'm an absolute failure. No, you're not. You need to be specific with what you want because the story is never fully gauged. It's like the duck who's swimming like hell under the water and then all of a
Mm-hmm.
sudden is calm as can be over top. Well, that's the story of pretty much everyone's life, right? No matter what they put up as their Instagram picture that looks perfect, there's a story behind it. So your goal today to get clarity is finding out what your purpose is. And the Ryan Holiday book, Stillness is the Key.
Yes.
It was had this great thing is that if your whole time is spent escaping your life, you need to change your perspective on what your life needs to be.
And that's going back to like we spend so much time planning vacations and getting away from our lives,
Mm-hmm.
doing like the better thing. But what if you changed your mindset and made your current life and lived your current life and romanticized your current life? Like, what if you woke up in the morning and was like, oh my goodness, I get to do this, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
What if you chose to love it?
And the reason is like, why can't you? Like, why? We're like,
There's no
there's no
reason.
reason to, but we feel like we can't, right? We feel like we can't because I don't know. Like, I don't even have a good reason. Like, oh, I can't leave my job. Why?
Why?
Okay, I get it. Maybe we like some like logical things. You want to have health insurance and other points, but could you find another job? Could you find a job you like better? Could you find something else? Could you find two jobs to get a point?
Well,
Could
and
you
then you
find
also,
cheaper health insurance? Could you do so? Why can't you?
yeah. And the thing is, you also have to go back to what choices did you make that landed you into that job, and how? Because again, you're responsible for your life. So how can you make your life better? How can you make your life in that job? Or if you're doing real estate, let's bring this back to real
Mm-hmm.
estate. If you're doing real estate, how can you make it better? Say you're in the grind. Say, for instance, you're wholesaling and flipping and you're getting tired because it's just so much of a grind. But maybe it's all mindset.
Mm-hmm.
If you change your mindset, you change your life. So change your mindset into thinking positively, especially if you're having the I can't mindset, then you're probably going to think to yourself, well, I can't do that. You're going to give yourself the option to fail. But what if you could? What if you could be positive in it? What if you could be positive in your 9-to-5 job? Because if you make that positive, I mean, there's no limit to what you can do, because then that's like a jumping off point.
And you also don't change, right? Like, so like, oh, well, the second I get out of this job I hate, I'm going to be so much more productive and be a better person. No, you're not. You don't just turn it on. Like, you don't just say, for real estate, hey, I haven't learned how to underwrite deals. I haven't raised money and everything else, but when I find a great deal, I'll be able to get the money really quick. That's not how it works.
Yeah.
You don't just ultimately just turn it on because something's there. No, what's the common thing? Luck is when preparation meets opportunity. That's true of everything, right? If you're not setting up who you are right now, well, you don't just magically turn it on. Like you don't. Like, it's not like, Michael Jordan became Michael Jordan just because like when the time happened, he was like, oh, now I'll be good. No, he put in the work. He put in the absolute work. And right now, all right, if you're in something you don't like, we'll crush it so you can get as much out of it. Suck it up. Use every part of the resources you can to be the best you can be. So when you get into the next spot, someone actually wants you because you're doing something. If you want another job, or you create trades for yourself, or you create even just you've given yourself structure in your own life. You don't just turn it on. So, and here, we're almost at the new year, right? Everybody's going to have these New Year resolution. You're all going to fail because they never stick, because it doesn't matter. There's no magical point that we said, oh, the year crossover. Like, these are literally just dates for tracking for harvest. Like, it's just, these aren't real things, right? So we're going to say we're going to get to the new year and we're ultimately going to be a new person. That's why everybody fails, because no, you don't just turn it on. You don't just go for it. Start today. Start right now and figure out, what do you want? And what's something actual we can do? Like, oh, I'm going to lose 50 pounds. No, you're not, because that's not a real goal, because there's no action steps to that. You don't just like wake up today like, oh, I lost 50 pounds. No, I'm going to get out there and walk around the block. Okay, cool. Check
That's a good actionable step.
Check. Done.
Walk,
Same thing with real estate. I'm going to have 1,000 units. No, you're not, because there's no actionable step there to it. I am going to go out there and I'm going to talk to 30 investors today and see how I can help them and raise money and put together enough money that I'm going to be able to fund a down payment at that point. And I'm going to need $3 million. So my goal is to talk to 30 investors for each, looking to target $100,000. Okay, actionable. Learn your lesson. Keep doing it until you get there. You can track it too, right? You can track it. Like, you need to create format, focus, creativity, and persistence in your life. And if you do that, you can't lose. But you got to stop telling yourself you can't, because you're stuck in a path or a model that is the norm, right? Oh, we're going to get to New Year's Eve and we're going to all, I don't know, the next day, like, go out and like, have a party night, and the next day I'm going to be magically better.
No.
Nope. See you next year.
Well, just what Jason's saying, it takes actionable steps. So have a goal by all means and make it as big as you want. But then take that goal, say you want 1,000 units. Like Jason said, get a spreadsheet. Just open up Google Spreadsheets, easiest way. I know most of you have a Gmail account. If you don't, get one. Open up a Google Spreadsheet and list the actionable steps that you need to take to get to those 1,000 units. And if you need help figuring out those actual steps, by all means, give us a call. But start off with talking to other investors. Say, you know what, I'm going to talk to you. I'm not going to go all the way to 30. I'll say five other people that you know. And I know if you're listening to this podcast, you know at least 5 investors. So find 5 investors that you can talk to get some sort of information on how to raise money for deals.
Love it. All right, we've literally drilled down on everybody enough here. So on that fact, get it done. We know you can get it done if you put a plan of action in place. But stop giving yourself room to fail by not setting up real mile markers. Oh, I want to do something fictitious out there, right? If I was to tell myself 10 years ago, I'm going to run a 100-mile race, but I wasn't real in my mind, I wouldn't have done it. If I was going to say we're going to have 800 units today, 10 years ago, my mind wasn't there. So it would just been something random I'm throwing out and passing that had no meaning. But setting up plan, process, focus, execution, action, and just saying we're going to get it done, we're getting it done, and then it's done in our mind. Well, that's how you get there, and that's how we got there.
And also, I know you keep on hearing stay in your lane. Get out of your lane. You want change? You have to get out of your lane. Stop listening to the same news. Stop hearing the same rhetoric. You want to change. You have to change what is getting inputted into your brain. That's a big thing, because we have so much information that's being slapped in our faces, and it's targeted information. Facebook, Google, all the internet, and know that you like whatever news station. So they're going to show you that. If you look at negative news, chances are you're going to be shown that. So stop the rhetoric and change your life.
All right. So we have a little over an hour to get a workout in while we're kid free. So we need to get out there and crush it. Good work today. Get after it. Let's do this.
Bye now.